Morgan. Hey, Morgan. And we are here with another episode of
This is Cookies.
And Grace. All right, so today we are wrapping up Job, and I'm really excited. What?
Finally. I feel
Oh,
like you was in Job.
I was like, that's not what we doing. Okay, yes. So we are wrapping up Job. I wouldn't even say like I think we only have like 3 episodes on Job, and that is because if you know anything about this book, a lot of it becomes repetitive. Well, not exactly. They're saying the same thing, but they're meaning the same thing. His friends, they
Yeah.
just go into him. So.
I guess that's why I feel like we've been here for so long, is because it was repetitive in the messaging and it wasn't like anything new. And honestly, you know what it reminded me of? You know when you get scolded by like your parents and then you already said yeah right, and they keep going and it just make you so mad. That's how I felt reading Job. I was mad for him. So I was like, I know he got to be heated, especially
Yeah,
with Elihu. Is that how we say his name? How you say his name?
that's what we saying. We exactly saying Elihu,
Elihu.
Elihu. So I mean, I don't know. That comment makes me feel like we may have two different takes on Elihu, but I'm gonna share mine, and of course, Morgan is definitely gonna share hers. So just to do a slight recap, we have Job. He is being led into this situation where the devil has made this whole playing ground with him, but by the authority that God has given. So God is still in control of the situation. After all goes wrong, and Job pretty much loses everything, his family, his fortune, everything but his wife, and the flesh that he has even has boils on it. And his friends sit there in silence with him for a moment, and then they start to go in, they give him a good week. Then they start to go in on him and make him feel bad for the sin that he has committed and while all of this is happening. And Job keeps trying to tell them, no, I'm like, I'm a cool dude. Like I haven't done anything wrong. And yet they are still going in. And then they start to get irritated and mad because he's not confessing the sin that he has done. Job then finds himself in a situation where he is fed up and he starts to say some stuff out the side of his neck. Although he still has a heart for God, he's just angry and openly expressing that. And these men then get even more furious and start to go in even harder and even talking about his kids and how they deserve what they came to them. And they completely lose sight of helping a friend and goes and try to defend what they believe is the right thing. So we come upon this part and we're in Job 32 right now. And it's a young man named Elihu, Elihu. Yeah,
We call him
Elihu,
we
Elihu.
call him Eli.
Yeah, no, there's another man named Eli. So
And,
we're going to
but
say Elihu. No, I got it, Elihu. I kind of like the way it sounds too. So Elihu is this young man, and he's been waiting his turn. Like he's been waiting to speak to Job, and he's been listening to everybody. We do not know how long this conversation has lasted, but I'm assuming it's not an hour. Okay, they have been going in on Job for a while. He has 3 other friends, and this young man waited for his elders to speak before he shared his take on the whole situation. And he comes off a lot better than the other people, right? He's not exactly friend-like with it, but he's better than the other friends that have done such. So he actually starts off by saying that he's like, please don't be afraid of me. I haven't come to tear you down. I'm not going to be as hard as all the rest of those folk, but I am trying to tell you that you're wrong. Okay. So he basically is saying that the friends are not really answering Job's question, and that unlike the other men, he really wants to talk about not necessarily the sin that Job did to get himself in this situation. He's talking about the sin that the wrongness that he feels that Job has done against God. And so he starts explaining that God does listen to us, whereas Job started to get into this feeling like God isn't listening to me anymore. Where are you? And so he starts to tell Job to bring him back to reality that God is always there and God is listening to us. He communicates to us through different means, and that it really boils down to the trust that you should have in God. That trust is going to get you through this situation. And he accuses Job of being arrogant, like in saying that he deserves like what's called what he says is like the maximum penalty for his wicked ways of speaking to God out the side of your neck. Like, you're not about to talk to my Lord like that is pretty much how he's coming off. And he says that he's wrong. Well, Elihu says that Job is wrong and that God does listen and he is concerned, and pretty much says that Job is talking nonsense. He said he's speaking like a fool. Okay. And then Elihu explains that God is all powerful and greater than we can even understand, and that he is in control and has this unfailing love for us, like we're his creation. So then God steps in and decide that he's going to answer Job. Now that everything has happened, stop all this. It's my turn. Let me speak to this man. And God doesn't answer the question. Okay. So God kind of answers Job's question with questions. Okay. A ton of questions that really kind of put Job in his place. He takes them really on like this tour of the world, allowing Job to really see the world, allowing us also to really see the world through the way that God sees it, and really puts us into a sense of, I got a lot going on. I'm the Lord. I'm dealing with all of this. And yet through all of this, you are still important to me. I'm not going to get into every little thing that he says, but it's a long list. Hold on, let me see. The list starts at the list starts at Job 38. And then after saying everything, God kind of is like, now tell me, did you know all of this? And he's like, but of course you knew all of this. Like he's kind of like, I love God's personality that he's showing in this. But I appreciate that he pours into Job the realness of the situation. Like, don't forget that I am who I am, and you can't be my critic. You can't sit there and question me because you don't even know the fullness of me. You can't comprehend that, and I'm not going to give you that. I'm not going to give you that type of knowledge. All right. So Job responds, and he basically is saying that he's nothing. Like, after you've explained all of this, how everything works and how things move and how you're in control of like the most powerful animal on earth, and all of this passion that God puts into really bringing Job into this understanding of you don't know what it is. You don't know the whole situation. Just know that I love you type of situation. Job basically says that I need to just cover my mouth because I already said too much. I can't believe that I've spoken to you this way. And even though that is his response, God definitely goes in again and challenges him further and explains some other things about the world that you couldn't, okay, you couldn't understand. So at the end of everything, Job does respond and humbles himself, stating that he knows that God is in control and that God can do anything, and that he knows that God still loves him. All right. Then God pretty much rebukes the three friends, and restores Job to where he, well, beyond where he was. He like puts blessings on blessings. Like he restores his health, his family, and all of that, and really puts the friends in their place. And reminds him that, it's because of his faithfulness. Yes, he did step out of line with his tongue, but in his anger, in which we are allowed to be angry. Just, you're not gonna be talking to God any kind of way. But because he was faithful, it wasn't like he casted God away. And God knew that he still trusted him, though he had his words and his hurt. But after all of that, he blessed him. And that is the synopsis that I have. Excuse me. After all of that, Morgan, would you like to add to the bits and pieces, the parts that I kind of just, gave a layer?
Sure. My first note is finally the friends shut up. that
Okay.
that was my first note because I told you I was tired of them. Um, so to me, and I don't know, maybe it was when I was reading it, but to me, Elihu hopped on the scene. I'm not gonna. Well, I say he hopped on the scene, big mad at Job because he was accusing him of sin, like the others. And also mad. I didn't name them the Three Stooges. Mad at the Three Stooges because of their inability to like refute Job into submission, for lack of a better words, because they had weak arguments. So my first question was, where did he come from? Like, was he sitting there for the 7 days as well? And
Okay, so it was 7 days.
did he walk up mid combo and just
Maybe he was walking by and was like,
He heard a little something and was like, yeah, that was, I'm like, where did he come from? Like, he just been here.
I,
Um,
let me. Does it say
it just
he?
says he
It
went.
just said he came angry. He must have heard something. Was like, wait a minute. That's what you're not about to do. Is talk about my God like that. But he heard. He obviously heard what the friends said also. So that would lead me to believe that he was dead for quite a while. If he can call them wrong, he had to have sat through their spill.
But they was talking about. Maybe he came on the third round of each of them talking. I don't know. But yeah, I was like, where did he come from? My first real note as far as like the scripture 32:9, I like when he said sometimes the elders are not wise. Sometimes the aged do not understand justice. And I read that and I kind of highlighted it because I was like, um, things and times change. And like, even in our own families and stuff, the logic that made sense then doesn't make sense now. It's like, before people used to lock their kids, go outside, you will be outside all day long. Now I need to lay eyes on you. Don't go further than this porch. Don't go further than this land that we own, like that type of stuff. And just the importance of having discernment. And so then I transitioned to like seeking counsel from like your elders, even in like the church stance, and questioning what happens when they don't necessarily, I'll say, stay relevant or stay current with the time. So you know how you have like those elderly bishops and pastors that's not really down with the youth, and then like they can't relate, and because they can't relate, they aren't able to, like, I feel um the Three Stooges weren't able to articulate their points or talk to Job because they couldn't really understand because they didn't adapt. They had this one clear, this is what it is, and weren't able to
Mhm.
change. And just thinking about that in times like the church, or even in terms like the family structure and how important it is to, you know, adapt and be not flexible, because the fact is still the fact. The word of God is still the word of God. But if you're not current, you aren't able to apply it correctly, which is why this younger guy was kind of able to bridge the gap.
I like that point.
Woo, woo.
I like that. That will be going in the Bible. Morgan said.
That's a cookie for y'all to
I really do. I don't even have that highlighted. I have highlighted right under that.
bite.
He was like, I waited all this time. Listening very, I mean, yeah, but he said, I've been waiting all this time, listening very carefully to your arguments. Um, and one, I said that he showed reverence to them by waiting, because, go ahead and let them speak. But also the listening part, like, how do you state your point of view if you're not listening? If you are listening and you in a go back and forth with somebody, and while they're talking, you thinking about what you're about to say, you can't be listening to them. And in order to really state your opinion or your point of view and help them understand you and refute what they're saying and prove them wrong, you had to have listened to them. All right. It's no way that he would have been able to bring all these good points to them unless he really heard what they were saying, to say that wasn't right. When you said this, that wasn't right. Not I feel. We go to a lot of arguments with I feel this and I feel. Nobody care how you feel. Where was I wrong?
That's because when the statement was said, it made me feel some type of way. All right. But no, that's a good point. I think a lot of times in just general conversations, we listen to, what do they say? Don't listen to respond. Don't listen to react. Listen to respond, or listen for clarity. I forgot.
Yeah, I definitely agree with listen for clarity.
Um,
Because I'm not, I can't hear from you if you first, if I'm talking to you and you don't even acknowledge that I spoke and tell me what you heard of what I said. Like, this is what me and my husband have found this really, really helpful, to be like, okay, so I understand where you're coming from, and what I have to say on that is this. Not I've been talking, and then you just come in with what you might as well have started the conversation. You ain't hear nothing I said. You ain't even addressed. I'm talking about the burger and you talking about the fries. Like, like, can we stick to the burger? Like, first talk about what I talked about, which was the burger, and then come in with how the fries matter too. Can't be a complete meal, whatever the argument is. Apparently, I'm hungry.
I'm hungry too. I got a salad waiting for me.
I
Um,
don't have that. I have a junior bacon cheeseburger with fries, nuggets, and a Sprite and a Coke and some Litos.
is that from Wendy's and Litos?
Yes.
funny story about Lita.
Then I have water.
I got a funny story about Wendy's. I should let Tree tell you because literally every time he tell the story, he busts out laughing so hard you think he having an asthma attack.
Yes, I gotta hear that. I love when somebody is so into their story they can hardly get it out.
I
They make me
do
really,
because I'll be like, get it out, and then by
no,
the time they get it out, because they've been cracking up,
it ain't
it's
funny
not
to
even
you.
funny.
No, and that's where you go wrong. You're supposed to already be laughing with them. You're supposed to see all the joy, and you like, I'm already there. I don't even need to hear the story no more. We already laughing. You can just cut it.
Kelly, I was there. The story happened to me, and I did chuckle a little bit, but no, it ain't that funny. Like it's
Okay,
been a month.
I'm gonna hear it.
But anyway, the next point I have. Well, do you have anything else? Starting with
For 32?
like my 32.
No, I have 33.
Okay, you go ahead at 33 because my next note really isn't until 34.
Okay, so on 33:12,
Mm-hmm.
he start off by saying, "But you are wrong." And I think it's important to make sure that somebody understands that. um, but I just says that he says, "But you're wrong, and I will show you why." It's not enough to just tell somebody, "I don't like what you said," or "You wrong," and then don't back it up with something. So, and his approach, like I said in 7, when I was talking about how he said, "You don't need to be afraid of me." That is 33:7. I won't come down on you hard like the other people have. I mean, he don't say like the other people have, but that's how the others have come down on Job, and he's basically setting the tone. And when you approach a conversation like that, sometimes people ears open up a lot more because you come in real sweet, like, "Oh, I understand what has happened to you. You wrong, but I'm not gonna, attack you. So please hear me out," type of thing.
But I feel like he still did attack him. I don't know, and it could just be. I feel like he. I mean, yes, he made his point, and maybe it had to be that way because he was trying to like really, really make this point, and apparently he had been holding on to this response for 7 days of waiting, and 3 friends going at it. So it can't, when you passionate about something and you've been silent for so long, it comes out like this. But I still feel like he was harsh, especially when you consider he is younger than them. Um, and so who you think you talk to, little boy? Uh,
So do you think young people should be able to check older people?
I feel so that was another question I had. So these other people are referred to as Job's friends. Those are his colleagues. Though they're even playing fields. This guy comes is Elihu of Buzite. It doesn't say he has any type of relationship with Job. So no, if I'm walking down the street and even if I hear somebody say something, who am I to? I don't. He didn't berate him, but like I feel like he wasn't as respectful as I personally would have been to an older stranger because I don't necessarily feel um that level of comfort. Like I guess just because in general, like, disrespect is a big thing in the community. We don't play that, especially when it comes to the elders. So I would feel like mad nervous coming up to somebody, grandma or grandpa, telling them X, Y, and Z. Even if I felt like they were wrong, I would tread carefully. I guess he tried to. We don't know much about his personality, so maybe this is calm for him. But I still feel like he was harsh.
It is calm. Well, I do have a point to what you're saying. So, and I struggle with this because on one part, it's like, that's none of my business. He was never talking to me. And I'm not trying to get in the middle of that. But it depends because when you do love somebody, like you love God, and you already know that a lot of people are sensitive, different people serve different gods. You don't really know, you don't want to jump in there and get your feelings hurt or hurt somebody else's feelings. But to know that many people probably knew that Job and God, his relationship with God, and then to hear him start talking like this because Job was well off. So when you well off, some people know who you are. So maybe he knew who Job was, and Job may not have known him. But I have struggled with inserting myself into a situation that I'm not comfortable with. However, if you are both Christians, you should be able to check them to a degree respectfully and say, I'm just trying to help my fellow man. Like, I don't want to see somebody who I have looked up to, possibly because he's younger, Job is older, or somebody who I have seen been blessed beyond belief because of the relationship he has with God, or because God just wants to bless you like that. But I've seen you do well, and now to see you so low and a time to show all a whole new lesson, you out here talking out the side of your neck about God. I'm not about to let you do that. But it does depend on your, it
Delivery.
depends on, yeah, how you gonna say this. But I do think it's okay. It's just that I have to get to a place. What I like to do for a lot of, to make me comfortable, and sometimes it's not about me, a lot of times it's not about me, but for my comfort level, I like to establish a relationship with somebody before I start telling them, oh, you wrong, you shouldn't be doing this, that, and the third, or whatever the case may be. And then it really isn't the delivery of you're wrong. It's kind of like, well, let's see why you would choose this, knowing that you already believe this. You know that that's not, where God has you going. And because one, I know I mess up all the time, so I'm not about to come down on you like I'm here, you here, boom, boom, boom. So I say all that to say that it depends on you and your comfort level, whether or not you want to walk by and something tickle your ear about them doing something wrong. You're like, hey, you really think you should be doing that? Like, you should be talking like that? So that's something that each individual person, I think, should pray about in the moment. God, is this for me to insert myself? Because if it ain't, you can get your feelings hurt.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. So he said, well, I guess his justification, he came in saying that God gave him the okay because he was like, the spirit of God has made me interject this statement. But so I'll ask you this, and I won't say real names. So you at the grocery store, you run past Big K, and he's saying some things, and you're gonna turn around and be like, nah, because you do know him, you text him. Let's say you run past Big John K. You know Big John K, right?
Who is that?
Jenkins.
Who?
Glenn Arden.
Just proceed.
You don't know who that is?
No. Who is James?
I didn't say James.
Oh,
I said John K.
Glenn Arden?
Yes, a First Baptist.
The church?
Yes.
Okay.
You at the giant buying household vittles, and you see him and whatever he going through some things, and he might say some out of pocket things that he is a man of faith. Something happened, he just talking out the side of his neck. You don't have a relationship with this man. He is also your elder. You feel confident going over to him and man like, now you know that God do this, God do that, God do that, blah, blah, blah. And I also don't know how much creative leeway was in here because I see a lot of exclamation points. And to me, exclamation points are aggressive. So that's why I felt like he was yelling at him. Don't yell.
Let me get, hold on. What are you, where are you at?
All in here.
I see a lot of questions.
No. And he's like,
You on 34?
keep silent and I will teach you wisdom. Exclamation point.
That's what I'm saying. Where?
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, the exclamation points make me think he was just like going in.
No, like, give me the verse. Okay.
30,
I do see on 36 too.
Yeah, 33,
So
30.
you at 36. Okay, I see exclamation points start in 36. So
Even
yeah.
before 36, there was one in 33, 33. He said, if you
Okay.
have anything to say, go ahead. Speak. I'm anxious to see you justify you. Basic, that to me, that's hostile. No, don't. You said you was coming to me in love and kindness. What is this? And then go say, keep silent. I'm gonna teach you some wisdom! Exclamation point.
You think he was like this though?
The little bit of strength I had,
You
and
think he was like this?
yes, he was clapping in Joe's face. I wait. He was going in. That's why I felt like it was just a little hostile. Again, not refuting what he was saying, but I just said he was big mad. That's why I said he was big mad.
Okay. I can see that now. I can see that.
Yeah, that's why I was so frustrated with Joe. I was like, if they don't get off my man neck, like he just had a moment of weakness. And I think that is some of the other notes, and even my side note in my study journaling. I felt like he had a moment of weakness. Are we not allowed to express frustration to our trusted circle? You know, you have your circle of friends that you talk to when you're suffering or when you're battling, or even like your small group, different things that you're dealing with. Are you not? Is that not a safe space to say, I'm questioning this? yes, we are not supposed to talk. He never said, oh, I don't bang with God and this, and this. He was just like, I feel like he don't even hear my cries at this point. And I just, sometimes I
No, the same way Elihu was talking to Job, that's that same energy he was giving up.
he gave that energy after 3 grown men berated him for, as far as I can tell, for an additional week.
You don't let nobody sway you from the Lord. Okay?
He didn't sway him. He was expressing his frustration. He was crying out because literally, he probably wasn't even crying out. His vocal cords was probably bruised too, so it was probably a whisper. If he had balls up, too much pain to be yelling at these people. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, they have all come down hard on poor Job. However, you cannot take away the fact that Elihu was the softest kapow. Okay, he hit him a little softer.
He did, but he still hit him. He hit him when he was already down. I just had 7 rounds with my mans, and now I gotta come fight this young whippersnapper.
But you see how you could have been through all of this, right? His friends and said all of this. However, when somebody comes to you and they are saying something similar, but you have to have to have the strength to listen still when somebody is coming to you and they still saying something you don't like, because that's what Elihu did. He did have a little difference in tone. It wasn't that he did something wrong, because that's what his friends was like. You sinning, you out here doing this. He's like, bump all of that. You are now in a position to show a lot of people something different, and you out here just. So his argument was different.
That's what I'm saying.
He was mad on a different level because of how he approached God.
But if Elihu, I said Elihu now. If Elihu, because there was an Eliphaz, if Elihu came up with the same, oh, you must have sinned, them exclamation points would still be mad, hostile. You just think it's less aggressive because he's saying, I'm not even going to address what you did to get here. I'm going to address what you're doing right now. Mm-hmm. But that don't mean that the delivery was even better. He just swayed the conversation. The thing he said, he did what you said you and your husband do. I heard you talk about the burger, and now I'm going to mention these fries. That's why you like it, because that's what he did. He did
in that situation, them fries was more important than that burger, and he needed to hear about them fries.
Well, so I guess the whole thing is, I struggled to see that Elihu provided enlightenment in a way that Job already did not have. He had his own relationship. Did he lose it, or was he just expressing his frustration? And he only got to that point after his friends had, pressured him and pressed him. And he was just like, look, this is where I am right now. But I don't think that if they would have just said their piece, one each, went about their way, I don't even think he would have had that long dialogue.
I agree.
He might have had it in like crying out to just God and said, like, God, why is this happening to me? The same questions we always have. It probably would have been more of a sorrowful cry instead of an angry, I'm so frustrated. And now I got my man's questioning me too, like my integrity, my whole life, this type of thing. So when Elihu is going through this list of things, it's like, of course, Job was like, he didn't come back with anything because he knew all those things deep in his core. Those were his roots. So to me, I was just like, yeah, Elihu. I have other notes.
You still there on the floor with them boys crying.
You said 34.
34?
I had 34-4. Let's discern for ourselves what is right. Amen. Everybody mind your business.
Let us learn together what is good.
Nah, I just put the first one. Mind your business is what I wrote.
I highlighted it. I ain't get mind your business though.
Let us discern for ourselves. Like, I read it. I know you can. So like the first line said, I'm going to do what's right for me and mine. But then the second part is like, let us do what is good. I ain't like that part. I just like the part.
That's the part I was like, let us learn together what is good.
Every time they put a let us in the Bible, I question it. Who is us?
People in general.
which one of us, me and Elihu, or me and the Three Stooges? Because they beyond me. We're not going to agree. But you, Elihu, I might be able to let us decide what's good.
Hold on, let's see. So Nina has a comment. She says, "I feel we do that all the time." She hold on. Okay, I feel we do that all the time when things go bad. People try to tell us what we did wrong, what we should do right, how to fix it, what they have not been through, and when you get frustrated, then you are questioned. Definitely, that is the human way. That's what we all have been. Well, I know I have. I'm not gonna speak the rest of y'all, but
I feel like people do that. I don't do it as much because I'm not an interjector. But
I almost dropped something.
you know how you do something like, say you was in a car accident and like you broke your leg, or like you in a full body cast, and then your friend come over and be like, yeah, this one time I sprained my pinky. Is that you relating to me?
They are trying to, and it depends.
Just say,
I'm gonna make a note because I did something some kind of terrible with that. You know what? I don't even want to give it life. I'm not writing it down. But I have done worse. I can tell you that. I have done worse. And I think about that moment all the time. Like, why didn't you just shut up? Just shut up and let that woman talk. You don't got to say nothing. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, it's the part that's like, just listen. That's all you got to do. That's what some friends, that's what you got to do, is just listen. Had them men just listened and didn't take it upon themselves to state that, then they would be in a better place. But what I have highlighted 10. Listen to me, you who have understanding. Everyone knows that God doesn't sin. The Almighty can do no wrong. To keep that in the back of your head, because we all know that, but to keep giving that statement life, and to know that you know, can keep you out of a whirlwind of thoughts that you really don't need to have. Don't sit there and think that God is doing something evil to you. Like, having that knowledge and just leaning on it is just what I put out for that one. And the last one is 36
wait,
and
I'm
30.
gonna go back to 30
Okay.
before in 34:5, when he was like, for Job said, I am innocent, but God has taken away my rights. I'm innocent, but they call me a liar. My suffering is incurable, though I have not sinned. And then he goes on to say, tell me, has there ever been a man like Job with a thirst for irreverent talk? How was that irreverent? He was clearing his name. And I don't think he had a thirst for it. I think he was.
I don't know. I mean, like, can he really say, I have not sinned? I have not sinned to the degree of which I feel like I deserve this, but sin itself is wrong. That is you departing from God, period. Has he done that? I'm sure. There's only one person, Jesus. Beyond that, I'm thinking Job is right next to him, under
He
him.
is. Well, he ain't say he was
So,
sinless. He was like, I'm innocent of what they're accusing me
no, he
of.
said, I have not sinned. Not I'm blameless, because Job is blameless, not sinless.
Where do you say I have
So,
not sinned? Oh, up there. Job said, okay.
uh-huh. Uh-huh.
No. Mine says, I am innocent. I am innocent. They call me a
And
liar.
six,
Oh, though I have not sinned.
he can't say that. None of us can say that. You woke up sinning. You was born sinning.
But what if he did not sin?
But what if
And
he
then he
did?
said he chooses evil people as companions. Are those his friends? Like, yeah.
Debatable. Debatable.
He spends his time with wicked men. They came to me. I ain't go to them. I wish they would go away. Like, I was like, I don't think we can hold this against Job.
That's not for us to hold. I'm not about to get in that. What do you have before my 36 besides
So
5 and 36?
then in 11, is it 34:11? Did I write the wrong note?
11. Yeah, that's right up under what I said. He repays
Oh,
people.
yeah. In this one, I made a note about transactional faith. It says he repays people according to their deeds. He treats people as they deserve. So in this statement, was he saying
He
that?
wrong.
Yeah, that's why I
He
was like,
wrong.
what?
He wrong.
That's where,
That's how you feel,
yeah.
but that's wrong.
Is he quoting somebody? Like I was confused. I was like,
Okay, so this is another nugget. So you don't, again, this is why when you don't want to like cherry pick the Bible and be like, oh, the Bible said he repays people according to their deeds and treats people as they deserve. The Bible says that, but it's coming from the point of view and the words of somebody else.
yeah,
So you don't take that as Bible. You take that in the context of which it is stated. And I just hope somebody didn't put that on a sticker. Just
that's not gonna be in the next print price like kid.
no, no, no. I mean, it is written. However, that's they should say dash Elihu. Give him all the credit because so when we're saying that that's not true, it's because there are no acts and deeds that you can do. Like it's not a checklist that's like I did this, I did this, I did this. Okay, so I deserve 5 blessings by Friday.
Woo!
That's not how that's gonna go.
Claim it.
Okay, you're gonna you're gonna be disappointed, and that's a part of that prosperity preaching
Yeah.
that is harming the kingdom, in my point of view, because it is okay to tell people that God can bless you and that He is capable of all these things, and tell them all the promises that God has for humanity and even them themselves. But to put on somebody that they are going to be blessed in this way and that God has this for them and that this is going to happen and that it will only happen or it is going to happen after they do this, after you sow this amount, after you join this situation, after you give this time, after you love this person, after you get married, after you have a kid, whatever these checklists are that people put on other people, it sends a message to them that it's going to happen. And when it doesn't, their faith is attached to that. And then their faith gets depleted. And then they no longer believe in what you said or what God said. And then the Bible becomes this, it becomes less than what it really is. And it's really a love story for us and helps. And it's a communication. But if we take it out of context, then it can really harm a lot of people. They can stray away. And so we have to be careful about telling somebody that this is going to happen and all you got to do is this, this, and this.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why
So
transactional faith. And
write that too.
yeah.
My
And then
highlight.
my last point
Yeah.
in 34 is 34, 35, where he's like, Job speaks out of ignorance. His words lack insight. So my first note was Job had a relationship with God probably before Elihu was even born. Hush. He has his own relationship. Like, don't. And then also it says he lacks insight, but none of us had full insight into God's plans or God's doings or anything like that. So who are you to like get up?
But I think that might be the insight to know that you don't know.
But I
Like
think he
you
knows.
don't know, you're not supposed to know. And if he wanted you to know that he is powerful enough to tell you and show you.
Maybe. But I was just like, so that what frustrated me, because are we ready to go to well no.
I mean, my point for 36 was just
Oh wait, before 36. 35,
my 36 ain't never gonna hit no play.
35, 5 through 8. I just wrote a note that said, what you eat won't make God poo.
Explain.
It said, if you sin, how does that affect God? If
Okay.
you sin again and again, what effect? Like basically, what you do really doesn't have an effect on God. These things that we do are just a small bit of the giant picture. So it's just like if Kelly over here is smoking 6 packs of cigarettes a day and I don't live with her and I don't smell it, what she do with her lungs don't have nothing to do with me and my lungs. So that's why I wrote that note. What Job does not make, well, what we do does not make God poo. You know how that's saying. That's my note for 35. Now we can go to 36.
Can we really?
Yeah, that's my note.
Okay, so I said, Job. Oh, well, he said, I ain't say this. He said, Job, you deserve, and I put a little box around deserve, the maximum penalty for the wicked way that you've talked, for you have added rebellion to your sin. You show no respect, and you speak many angry words against God. I said that Job did speak to God in anger, but he never judged anyone, and he still had a reverence in my eyes. He still had a reverence for God. He didn't denounce God and say that he wasn't on board, like he didn't love him and have faith in him and anything like that. So and then in this moment, Elihu does seem like he is on board with the friends and saying, you're sent.
Mm-hmm.
Like as if he does believe what the friend said. However, we just want to talk about this part, which is you showing lack of respect to God with these angry words. And you don't deserve to tell nobody what kind of penalty they deserve. Okay, that's a judgment. Okay, you shouldn't be judging people and saying that they deserve the maximum penalty for the wicked ways that you have taught. Okay, there is I believe the unforgiven sin, but this is by God's merit, not us, is blasphemy against the Holy Spirit. And then there is a huge conversation about what that specifically means in itself. That is a prayer between you and the Lord to make sure that you don't do such a thing and offend him in that way. However, it didn't say angry words. However, some of them angry words might be blasphemy against the Holy Spirit. But he not he's present because he always was. However, the Holy Spirit is not a part of this situation. So he is not, to me, committing that type of sin. Um, but that was my only touch on it, was that how is he going to tell him that he deserves that? And then that's him pointing out exactly what his issue was with Job. Um,
My other note from 36 was in 36:29, he literally asks, who can understand, basically, who can understand God's acts? But then proceeds to spend the rest of the chapter telling us what God's acts mean. How you know?
we do that too.
Don't say so again. It goes back to how you gonna tell me I don't have insight? How you gonna tell me I don't have understanding? But you do? Elihu, my God.
I mean, but you have to admit that he was talking some kind of like, it's wrong to say God doesn't listen, to say Almighty is
Talking
not.
about those things. I'm talking about the meaning of the thunder and the storms and this
Hold
and this.
on, we not there yet. I'm on 13.
In 30, I'm talking about 36.
No, when I said 36, I was talking about 34, 36.
Oh, I thought you were after 36.
No, I'm on 34, 36. This I was like, is we ever gonna get to 34, 36?
That's why I was like, I said, oh, that's all I have for 34.
Oh no. That was
I
my
mean, I
34.
was reading off different scriptures. I mean,
That's why I was sitting here flipping and looking. Okay. Like, where's she at? But before, okay, so I have a 35, 13, when he says, but it's wrong to say God doesn't listen, to say the Almighty isn't concerned. You can't see him, but he will bring justice if you will only wait. Then 16 said, well, this is what I highlighted. I highlighted 13, 14, and 16. 16 says, but you are talking nonsense, Job. You have spoken like a fool. And I said, and so have I. Like, I have said certain things out of anger because I have not understood, or I've been frustrated, or I've been hurt. And this checked me as well when I read this. I have a long little side note about like how I feel like I this is relevant to how I have spoken and how I have been. I don't necessarily know if it was on the same degree as Job, but that's also because I don't feel like I was hurting like Job. I don't think any pain is, I can't imagine the pain that he was going through. So, but I'm just saying, like, I have been mad, and I have called God to the source of that anger, because I know that he is all powerful. So in the middle of it, it's like, well, I'm showing reverence because I definitely know that you're capable of changing this. However, you haven't, and that makes me mad. And I think that's a real situation. I think many of people can say, I know that God is capable of allowing me to pay my mortgage, but right now I'm about to get kicked out of my home, and me, my children, and my spouse are going to be on the street. God, please do something. Okay, the sheriff is here, Lord. Like, when did you, any moment now. And now you in the car with all of your but not all of them. Your stuff is on the street. You can see your neighbors taking your stuff, and you get angry and you start calling out and saying stuff that's how you feel in that moment, knowing that God could have but didn't. That type of anger, I think, is real, and I think that people need to accept that that was Job's situation too. Because reading, I think that everybody on earth can relate to how Job felt. Not on that degree, hopefully not on that degree, but in some situations we got a little bit of Job. So I was just like, and so have I. And then I think you are on this point when in 36:4, when it says, I'm telling you nothing but the truth. For I am a man of good great knowledge. I put really that.
Full of himself, bro. Full of himself.
So I see what you're saying. I did put really. All right, so you're at 36. That's when, oh, so my first point, 36:22. Look, God is all powerful. Look, God is greater than we can imagine. A whole bunch of looks. So I was feeling a lot of that. The rain pours down. Like it's really poetic, you know. No one can tell him what to do or say to him, you have done wrong. Okay. We're supposed to glorify God. And his mighty ways and how he's in control. So this is him checking him again, yet again. Are we ready to go into what the Lord says on 38?
I wrote, finally, God speaks. And in my mind, as I read this, he was either Morgan Freeman or the State Farm guy. Very, very deep voice and black.
That doesn't sound nothing like me. So I had the Bible experience,
Mm.
and I got that when I like first became a Christian, and I was really excited, and I love it. And now it's on YouTube after I bought all these CDs. But YouTube wasn't really a thing back then. So if you want to listen to it, the Bible experience, it has a whole bunch of African American actors and songwriters and just a whole bunch of people that you have known or listened to. And I forget who the voice of God is, but it was not who I thought it would be. So
Was it Morgan Freeman?
no.
Was it Samuel Williams?
I think it's Samuel Jackson Lucifer. I forget. I'm gonna have to figure it out. But I know that it was supposed to be, to me, that all powerful Mufasa voice too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was that, yeah. Oh, I didn't even think about the Bell Atlantic guy.
Bell Atlantic. James Earl Jones. Oh
He
yeah, Nina. Yes, James Earl Jones. Yes, Mufasa.
it was definitely Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, he was saying it with his chest.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, God finally comes on the scene. He's like, I'm about to shut her down.
My only note from this section, I mean, there was side things, but my major note was for all of it. God said, "Check my resume, boo. Who else but me?"
God says a lot and I put that it's like it's some love in here, it's some sarcasm, it's some funny stuff, it's some wow, like God is I am.
Yeah,
That period. Like, but if you read that, I think that it's amazing to me because it's I can see it because I've said this to my children. It's like you over here, you can't. I just had a conversation with my son in a car. He got in trouble because the laptop, the whole being in class and being on a laptop, and I'm like, you can't keep a laptop closed, yet I'm keeping the lights on. How what you know about these lights? You just turn on the switch and boom, there's light. You know what I gotta do to turn on the lights? Who I have to pay? I said, you see how you're not cold, son? You're not cold because of the heat I provide. And I'm like, this is what the Lord says. Like, but I talk to them like that because they don't have an understanding. They have limited knowledge of how this house runs and what makes it okay for you to take a hot shower, the shower that you enjoy. Somebody somewhere is not taking a hot shower and you know nothing about that feeling. And it's because of all the things that I provided and protected you from, why you don't feel that type of hurt and less than feeling, that hunger. They don't know what it's like. You say you hungry because you want a snack. Some people are starving. Their stomach is eating itself. You don't know that type of hunger. You know why? Because it keeps the light on. Like, and it's because I go out and I do all these things. Thank you for letting me vent. But that is what I thought of when I heard all of this. Of course, to a way grander scale, of course. But it was like, wow, like the earth would stop spinning. It wouldn't even be on it. Like if we move a little bit too far, we get crispy from the sun. Like it's perfectly where it's supposed to be. Um, it's a whole bunch of stuff. The colors and it's the gates, like it's just a whole bunch. And I was like, wow, it was just a whole thing. Like you said, a resume of how amazing God is. And then he said, tell me about it if you know about it. Speak on it. Just a little bit. Like, tell me about the stars. You been there? Did you put one there? What's that star's name? I named them. So and then that's in 18. I said God is calling Job out. And then I said in 21, well, he says, God says, but of course you know all of this. For you were born before it was all created, and you are so very experienced. And I was like, shoot. Oh,
So when I mean, that was one way I looked at it, but I also looked at it as, how they say we're all like once little angels or like up, like, who's the us? So what if we was all this matter just up there with God, just hanging out, and then it's like, all right, number 151.
so I have seen a movie like that where you are there and then God is like, I need you to go down there,
Mm-hmm.
and poof,
Yeah.
that you're like this new soul and then you get to come back.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't read that in the Bible, so I can't
I mean, I
accept.
ain't read it in the Bible either.
So, but
Who's us?
I've seen it in the movie.
Again, who is us? Let us.
We already know my take on us is the Trinity, and Morgan is into saying the angels ourselves now.
The angels, our spirits, our souls. Because where do souls come from?
God, but I don't know if angels have souls.
No, not angels. I'm not saying we're angels. We're not angels. Our souls, our entities are
Of God.
of God. So we are. So think of it as like God breaking off a piece of His finger and be like, and there you go. I mean, it's COVID, so you know how He breathed into Adam and them lungs inflated. I don't think He gonna be doing mouth to mouth no more. So to me, He did a little flicker. That's how we got our souls.
Let me. Nina is. Hold on. Let me. I haven't even shown her comment, so I'm interested. So Nina said, I thought to speak that way for a week to see how people would react. I'm still thinking about it. You remember what we said? I don't remember the context.
But I like how she also agreed with Morgan Freeman or James.
Name's Earl Jones.
It's that deep. Is that a baritone? I haven't been in choir.
Yeah.
Yeah, that baritone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
she
she says,
48
I'm the
001.
in the spirit realm.
Exactly. We go back up. It's like Cheers. Everybody know your name. If you got like real names, like I don't want to say like a minute, like something ethereal, like not Kelly and Morgan. We're like goddesses. Yeah.
Kind of got used to Kelly, but I mean, it's amazing how we have that imagination.
Like Calethea or something, something exquisite,
Exquisite.
something more ethereal. Yeah.
I remember watching a movie where when you got to heaven, which I pray this is not a thing, they played your life on the big screens.
In front of everybody. It was a 17 showing.
Everybody is mad humble after the video. Because at first you're like, oh, that's you, that's you. Look what he did when he was a kid. That poor puppy dog. And this, that, and the other. And she lied to her friend. And look what she did to her husband.
Does it
And
go
like,
fast?
hey, how's it going? Is that my video? So it is very humbling to see, like, we have all done something, but I definitely don't want my video played. Like, is there a private room for this, Lord? Like, so
Is it a highlights or is it only the low lights or is it the full thing? Are we going to, like, if I play mine, are we going to be watching this for a full 32 years? Which I heard time moves differently up above.
I don't remember. I have wanted to see. I watched it when I was a kid. I wanted to look for that video for a while. I'm gonna write that down.
Well, we gotta hurry up. My stomach over here growling. Excuse me if y'all hear it in the mic. Kelly, I'm like Mister. I know what it feels like to be hungry, and your kids will too if they haven't been to college because those were some years.
So when he gets the 42, 40.
Oh, 40.
So it said, do you still want to argue with the Almighty? You are God's critic, but do you have the answers? That was like the ceiling of everything for that segment. And that's when Job is like, I'm nothing. Like, I'm just gonna cover my mouth with my hand because I already said too much. And then the Lord goes in and says, brace yourself like a man. because I have some questions for you and you must answer them. And it's more like a stay in your place type of situation. Like, you are who you are, I am who I am. And if you are unsure of that, I can tell you, but you have to show reverence. And then he goes into, and this is the part where I was like, dinosaurs. So in 15, it says, take a look at Behemoth. If you Google it, you will see like what people have thought of him, and talking about how his tail is like a cedar tree. Like, that's a big trunk. So it's more like a brontosaurus, like one of the long necks type dinosaurs is what I'm assuming it is. But then he says a lion, like we know of a mountain lion, how muscular their body is. But yeah, I thought that was really interesting. That he was pretty much mentioned, because I forever was like, are we gonna talk about these dinosaurs? Like, I don't know what, I just really really like dinosaurs, so I was really into that. And he's really going in on his craftsmanship and how things came together, and how he has created these mighty beasts, yet I'm still in control of the situation. And the Leviathan is like this sea monster. I don't know if it's like the megalodon or what, but people have showed us who he is as well. So Behemoth is mentioned in 40:15, and Leviathan is mentioned in Job 41:1. And those are I think you will hear
You
Leviathan again.
Behemoth is the sea, Leviathan is the land.
Huh?
You had them switch. Leviathan is on the land, Behemoth is on the in the sea.
No, it says,
Look at the note at the bottom. JB
where is JB?
14 under the text. It says Behemoth, a disputed ranging earthly creature to a sea monster. And then if you go over to the right side where it says JB 41:1, Levidian is a disputed ranging an earthly creature to mythical sea. So they don't know what it is.
Hmm. It's weird, because it says in the text, it says 15, take a look at Behemoth, which I made just as I made you. It eats grass like an ox. Ain't no grass in the sea.
Maybe sea kelp.
Moving on. That's not a big point. Either way, these are two really big creatures in which he still has control over, if we just keep to the point. But still, you will see Leviathan again. I believe that is in that creature is mentioned again. But the Behemoth, no. um uh Everything under heaven is mine, 41:11. My note says, if you can't control or understand what's around you, how can you question the acts of God? Um, and since no one dares to disturb it, who can understand it? Who can stand it? So there's a lot that we don't know, and to act like we know enough to challenge God is foolish, is what basically I'm trying to say. Um, and then I have a note for 42. Um, it's just when this is before he blesses him. And then he blesses him in 42:7.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I thought that was in 42:10, when Job prayed for his friends, the Lord restored his fortune. So after all of that, remember how he prayed for his kids because they was out partying, and he was like, just in case they sinned, let me say this prayer for them. After all of that, so when somebody does something wrong to you, oh God, they don't really know that this is hurting me this much. I like to pray that, I can forgive them. And I pray that they, fall upon your good graces as well in the situation. I don't think they know the magnitude of how that hurt. That's something else.
Yeah. My note for that, well, two notes. So my first note was I wish God would have chimed in midway through the Three Stooges because we could have saved a lot of time. But I guess he was like, let me see how this play out.
He was busy doing all the other stuff he said.
And then my second note was I wish they would have, I mean, I guess I don't know. I wish they would have elaborated on Job's prayer for his friends, the way that they gave the man a platform to repeat themselves for 3 days. just because I would have wanted to get information about or pull insight from praying for people who have hurt you. I wish I would have could have pulled something from that and had deeper insight. Because when something is fresh, you like, even when it's at work and somebody has irritated you, you don't even want to respond to the email, or you don't even want to respond in the meeting. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But to literally have to pray over and do what you're called to do because God told him to do it. um, and you have to do what you're told. And I just, that level of, I guess, maturity. And it's not even just a godly maturity. It's just I'm I'm bigger than the words that they said and um the situation. Like at the end of the day, what they say and what they think of me or think that I did, I'm gonna just go ahead and pray for them and just walk. I hope he walked away. I wish that he would have said, and he left them in the dust. I, because they made me so upset. I
I mean, and to know their reaction would be nice too, because sometimes we're not Job. Sometimes we the friends.
yeah. When God turned to them and was like, "I'm angry with you," I wrote justice finally. Because obviously, like they did it, we don't know how they responded to Eliphaz, like when he was like, "Y'all tripping," because they've been silent. That's why finally they're quiet. Um,
Elihu,
yo, Elihu, yeah, sorry,
we there just like
yeah,
I just said a little something, something. I ain't really go that hard.
yeah. So when he, it just says that he berated, he tackled Eliphaz, three friends or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, but it doesn't say anything about Elihu. So I'm guessing maybe he said his piece, and once God started talking, he was like, "Oh, you know what? I gotta be across the town. And this is a 3 days journey." He cat daddied his way on out of there. I don't know. He was like a ghost, just as swiftly as he came, he left. So,
I came to drop them gems and out.
all right, y'all, I got Camel waiting for me. Like,
I did what my assignment was. All
but
right.
yeah, I did like that. God kind of, and that's a note. It said we don't have to defend ourselves or seek what is it? What's it called?
Just
Seek justice. What is it called? Revenge. I was saying refuge. Yeah, we don't have to get revenge because at the end of the day, it's not our job to discipline, shun, attack people. We don't leave it to God. That was a note that I had because boom, God got the three friends. I mean, I don't even know if they consider friends anymore, but he got them, and then boom, Job got everything back and twofold, and I was happy. I said, I'm so happy that Job got his happy ending. And it reminded me of that statement. It was like, everything will be okay in the end, and if it's not okay, then it's not the end.
hmm.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, uh, Job was in it, and it wasn't even when the waters got rough because I feel like the waters was rough way before he got them boils and his wife left him. Like he was having a really bad day before then. It was just like he reached his threshold once his friends started attacking him. Because up to then he was just quiet and naked. I'm assuming because he ripped off his clothes. Um,
And covered itself in ash.
yeah. So he reached his boiling point was people were poking at his pain, basically. Um, my question to you is, how would you feel about this story, or do you think the story or the message of the story changes if Job never got back his fortune and his health?
I think
I feel like having that conclusion supports all the statements that we've been saying is not true. Like, if you are a good person, you get the good things because that's kind of what happened.
I think that we have to take this story and know that one, our situation isn't his situation. All right. For the most part, the devil did not go up to God and say, "Hey, I would like to challenge this situation like this." It's more like stuff is happening, okay, and God being in control of stuff happening. That very well might be your situation. I'm not saying that he can't, can we have a round two? I'm not saying that that can't happen, However, it would be foolish of us to feel like I'm going through all of this, and it says here that since this happened to him, it's going to happen to me. And I try not to take other people's story in the Bible and directly relate it to my life. Oh, well, see what her husband did. My husband's supposed to do this. And you see how she found her husband, or her husband found her, or how they had a child when they was 100 and something. Can't wait till I'm 100 and something, because that's when I'm gonna have my, like, you can't directly relate it to you. So I would hope that the message wouldn't be, I'm gonna go through hard times and then I'm going to be blessed. And again, I hope that when people are preaching and sharing God's good news, that's not the way that they share this book, because the message is that as believers, we're going to experience trouble. Our job is to then take that and lean further on God and have this faith that we get an opportunity now to show our faith, to share it, to express, because other people watch you, because you've been talking this talk. Now it's time to walk it. So that's how we should really take it. We can definitely still learn from it, but the ending may not be the same ending. You may still have lost your child and not get another child. You may still have lost your job and not get another job. Your spouse, you're going to lose stuff in life. And it doesn't mean that after you go through it and your friends down you and all this other stuff, that's when your business is going to succeed, or that's when you're finally going to have a child, or that's when, I don't know, but the blessings will come. So I think it would be very foolish to take the message and get it all wrapped up in the ending, and not pay attention to all of the lessons in between. Like, this whole book came across and all you was like was, yep, hard times going to happen and then we get blessed. Boom.
Can I get a hot tub?
Read it again. Please read it again. Like, read it again and open your heart to read it again, because he lost everything. Now, you may feel like your job was everything. That is not the same. Okay. And again, even if that was the case, that does not mean you're going to get the same. So
I had a note.
hold on. It says, thank you. I feel that God knew exactly what the devil, oh, yes, it was going to do to test Job. So from the beginning of the story, I felt like when God said you can do anything but kill him, God was giving him back. Okay. I definitely agree that, God was in control that whole time, and had that in the pocket the whole time. Okay, this is going to happen. A whole bunch of people are going to read this book of Job, and they're going to know that things are going to come at them and things are going to attack them, but I'm always there. That's what that message is. You can forget the end part being your end part. The end part is you still have this relationship with God that will carry you through anything. That would be the end part that you should take from it. I don't know if you're about to get some sheep and some kids. Do you really want that? Would you want God to bless you with 20 kids, 50 million sheep? Better be careful what you're asking for. Okay, you in the middle of New York. What you gonna do with 50 million sheep?
What again? Like I said, pivot, update the sheet. What shit? What sheet? Cryptocurrency? I might want 20 sheet. I might want it, Lord. Send me an NFT right now. But y'all, this concludes Job. I'm glad we over it. We over it, right? We out of Job.
Yeah, that is the end of it. I mean, I would like to do just a little recap. So
Yeah, that's
basically,
what I was gonna do.
oh, okay, yeah, that'd be nice. Go ahead, you go.
I wanted to just kind of recap like some of like the major things that I pulled from this, just a story of Job. So even going back from the beginning, we joked a lot about, Job was like this good guy. We never said he was sinless, so it's okay that you're not sinless, but that he tried to live his life as we'll say as aligned with the principles that God wants us to live as possible, you know, and just that was motivation for me to do that. So even things like he was praying for his kids, like they seem all right, but I don't know everything they do, so let me pray for them and do an offering just in case, and those type of things. Moving on to the next section about his friends and just the power of, I had the what it takes to be a good friend, and I also had the takeaway of watching the way we speak to people that we claim to be friends or that we care about, and not assuming that we're always right because we don't know everything. And then keep going. talking. I had a note and I had a question mark here. Maybe you can chime in, or you can just let me go through my notes and then you can speak about your notes. Um, Having a strong enough relationship with God to express frustration and concern or emotion without being disrespectful, disowning, or blasphemous. Is that allowed? Where is the limit? Um, because I personally don't feel like it is reasonable to say I'm never upset with God, because there are things that happen. There's discipline. There's, like, it's discipline, not specific. Like, this wasn't a discipline based off of anything that Job did, but in general, there are disciplines. There are different things that happen to us throughout life. And if we can't turn to God, who is always there, and say, this upset me, I'm frustrated, I feel like I can't do no more, then what are we supposed to do with our Father?
You can say those things, but what you're not gonna
Well,
say,
I'm not gonna be like, you ain't never been there for me.
yeah,
And
but that's what we say. I
he
mean,
didn't
that's
say that. He just was like, I'm crying out, and it don't feel like you hear me. Oh, a note that I did have in that section was, how often did he hear from God before the incident? Because it's one thing when, you know how people like, oh, I heard from God in the shower, oh, I had a dream, or oh, I had all these different conversations with him, the communication line is flowing. Then I go through this major rough patch, and it's like, I'm not even having my dream. Like, if it was Joseph, Joseph got them dreams, and all of a sudden he stopped having dreams as soon as he went through this major downfall. And it's like, you ain't get my voicemail, my text? Like, why you ghosting me, God? Like, now you just gonna ghost
and,
me?
and that I can see how that can really hurt if you already had that relationship with
Yeah,
God. When you have that relationship with
he
God,
has a
and
relationship.
you're like, any moment now, he gonna explain this to me. Like,
Or at least in, like, you
but
know,
we have, that is the point again, is that you can't sit there and be too comfortable like your God is only your God and he only gonna show up for you when you need him
the
in that very
omnipresent,
moment.
he can be
He gonna show up when he's supposed to.
he is everywhere. He can be with me and put out the wildfires in California. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, he can.
I know these things. He just went through his resume. So all right, so I know that. So basically it's like, so you got my text.
Yes.
So
And
you
at
got
the
my
time,
message.
I didn't feel like it was time for you to receive what I had for you. Just
Right.
because you wanted it at that time and you know I'm capable. Just like my child, when they're young, they know I'm capable of feeding them what I eat. They know my ice cream is good. But if I give you this ice cream and I know you want it, but you're not ready. It's too much for you right now. So to really tell you, if God has said yes, so I was with, Lucifer.
He don't have to say that. I'm
Like,
talking about appearing in a dream or whatever the case was. They went through the different ways he shows up and be like,
you just wanted some comfort, like you will be
yeah,
all right, my
like,
son.
I know this is hard. Remember who I am. A two
Okay,
two
so we are, so Job don't have that, but we do. We have that. Mine is wrapped in Malibu clay. Ooh.
Yeah, I agree.
You have that.
But
This is the message. He is already talking to you, right?
the point is, like, do you agree that as Christians we have a certain threshold
Oh,
for
go ahead.
emotion? Yeah, threshold for emotion. To express emotion, other emotions other than gratitude and reverence to God.
God says that we are allowed to be angry. It's just what you do.
There are some.
Don't let your anger cause you to sin, though. Like
Right.
you're not about to be out here talking.
What I'm saying is, like, but there are some people and even churches who say you're not allowed to question him.
That church might not be reading the same word. Tell them to open this book right here.
They reading the word, but they piecemeal it again.
So that's why it's your job to tune into different
Transaction.
perspectives.
But so that was
I wanted to share what Nina said, and she said, I heard that before, but I haven't heard it in a long. Dallas, don't embarrass me. It says, I'm glad I read the Bible because it showed me that the teacher is silent during the test.
I like that.
That was good.
Nina dropping cookies.
Yeah, look at me taking my pen out. My pen is out. My pen is
Um, and then my last note, as we get into Elihu, was just about sometimes it's not about the what someone's accusing you of. or the injustice you feel like has been done to you. It's more so about how you react to situations. And um, like, are you going to cause one thing to make a domino effect and um, break your faith? And then my last thing is, don't ever question the Lord. That's what I said. But we already know that. Yeah. So
Yeah,
those
because
are my
that
major
understanding is
takeaways.
not for us all the time. I did want to mention when Nina just spoke, she just said that she was mad with God for a long time when her husband passed, and that is really deep. Like that is like you gave me this gift in this person, and then you took it back. You took that away, and that is so heavy. That is really hard to like accept.
Mhm.
But that is something like we have to. That is a part of the faith showing part. When we say that and we claim that we have it, and knowing that God still has our best interests. My father used to say, like, people passed away, and I would be sad, and he was like, "They doing better than you, baby girl. They with the Lord. You still here." So
I know.
it's that part of peace to know, like, it's really us sad because we won't be with that person, we won't see that person, and that hurt is real. Like, you miss them. You used to wake up with that person and kiss them and hold them all the time, and for them not to be there, it really hurts. And you're like, but you love me, why cause all this pain? It's like I'm still there when you're in that pain too, and more love will come. Your heart will grow. So I know that the things that we go through is real. Like Joyce Myers talks about how her father sexually molested her when she was young, and I wanted to point out that in our study Bible shows in Romans 8:28 that God allows evil to happen, and that's hard to hear, but allows evil for a time, and he turns it around for our good. And sometimes you might not get to see that good. I think we need to accept that you may not see how God was able to take what happened to you or what you did wrong and turn it around, but know that he's capable of doing that, just like he's capable of healing you while you're in your hurt and feeling, that that void when that person is gone, or when that wrong thing was done to you or somebody you love. um but I wanted to wait because I know you were still.
Oh no, I'm pretty much done.
Okay, so I again wanted to share other study Bible notes. So for Job 42:1, it says he asked for forgiveness, not for God's sovereignty and justice. Job repented of his attitude and acknowledged God's great power and perfect justice. So again, he wasn't asking for forgiveness for these sins that he committed. He was asking for forgiveness with how he approached God in the situation, and kind of um, not he didn't lose faith per se, but he didn't have the same amount that he had when he had first gone in a situation, and we understand how that happened. And then the last thing in my notes and on this in my Bible says that if you can trust him in pain, confusion, and loneliness, you will win the victory and eliminate doubt, one of Satan's greatest footholds on your life. It does not mean you're going to win and get a whole bunch of stuff at the end like Job. What you're going to win is the victory of knowing I can go through this. I have gone through this. And now I'm able to, either grow through the situation or share it with somebody else so that they grow through the situation. That is the victory that we have. Not necessarily because, I got a Bible that has a whole bunch of sheep here. You might not be getting these sheep per se, but you will get that victory. And that's all. She does say, put when you lose the person that you feel God gave up. Um, God gave you as a helpmate and no longer.
You have to read the earlier comment first.
Oh, I didn't even know there was earlier comment. I'm sorry, Nina. Okay. It is easy to lose faith alone. When you lose a child, but you have a partner, you feel like you guys can grieve together. When you lose everything, money, home, or whatever, but you console each other. But when you, I think that's but
Yeah.
when you lose the person that you feel God gave you as a helpmate, is no longer who you have, that you can physically touch. It is hard. I definitely understand that. I understand that because when you get married and you have kids, I never understood how my dad said that my mom came before me. And I'm like, but I'm your baby girl. I'm your only child. And he was like, and yet you still come after your mother. And it's because that is the gift that God gave me to that I hold on to. You are his child. Me and my spouse are in union with God. Like it's a whole different type of relationship with your spouse, and that person is the number one. Like you wake up and that's the person that you're like, I want to make them happy today. And to lose such a thing has to be so hard. Like I can't imagine something like that. um, and to know that you have gone through such a pain, and yet you know that God is still in control of the situation is definitely a victory. Like that is, again, I have a husband and I have children, and I wouldn't want to see any of them go. But to know that my husband would be there if any of those other horrible things happen is a comfort. And when you lose that last little piece of comfort, it's definitely a blow. So thank you for opening up and sharing that. That's, that, because a lot of other people have that. That's a real situation. Thanks, Nina.
Thanks, Nina.
Um, but that's all. Oh, the main question of the book. It says, why do believers experience troubles and suffering? And that is the question that this is answering, because we are all going to feel some kind of type of pain. It is, it is hurtful for somebody to tell you that when you get saved, that's it. Like everything's gonna be good and milk and honey, gold, and all the other good things. It's going to be hard, and life is going to still continue to hurt. And you need to be able to learn how to deal with it and grow through it, and have faith through the situation. And I feel like Job really does do that, and it's just all right here. And you just have to open up your heart and understand what's going on in this situation. It is not a mean story, because some people take the story so left and be like, see how God be? That's not how this is. It's like, it's really love. So there we go. Oh, I just found Leviathan again. Job 41:31. Mention them again.
The many people in this story was the Three Stooges.
All right.
Use your friends wisely. Next time I'll be leading, and y'all be finished with the chosen family. God and chosen's family. All
Yes.
right, and we're moving on. How, wouldn't it be cool if like we could really do like a 23andMe and like trace back to like see if like we descendants of like one of Joseph's kids? Because he had a rock of
He had a Rocco. He did. He did.
But anyway, we moving on to Exodus, right? Yeah.
Yes. I'm
Um,
excited because this is where my study notes stopped when I was reading the Bible, just me versus reading it for Cookies and Christ. And so I am eager to be able to study in real time instead of, well, I feel like I'm going to keep the flow of reading ahead. I think it adds to being able to speak on stuff. So I'm going to try to, hold on, how big is Exodus? You big. It's like right before Leviticus. And if you're wondering why we're going from Job to Exodus, is because again our Bible is in chronological order. So that is the order of which our books go by date. So the next book talks about, well, the next section, we're actually in a new section. The first section was the beginnings, and then we went into God's chosen family, and now we're in the birth of Israel, which includes
it
Exodus,
goes.
it includes Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, and Psalms. So that is what's coming up next. So we have Exodus, and it being you, what are you going to do with Israel?
I feel like I can handle section 1 and 2. So that's
Okay, 1 and 2.
Exodus 1 through 4, meaning I'm going through 4, stopping before we get to chapter 5.
Okay, so it is now on the screen for everybody. Nina seems really excited about Exodus. So we are going to, this is Moses. Okay, we got Moses, um, Joseph.
I want to know how many of our cookie minis, mini cookies, what they call them, bite-sized cookies, have already are familiar with the story of Moses. If y'all haven't, I'm not going to judge you, but
No.
I feel like this is like beyond Adam and Eve. The story of Moses is almost like Sunday school day two.
Okay, so I mean, we got the Prince of Egypt.
I don't recall the last time I read the story of Moses like rooted to tutor, honestly. So I'm interested to see
You
how.
can always watch what I have Joseph and the King of Dreams, and then we have the Prince of Egypt.
Yeah, the Prince of Egypt. But when you read stuff and when you watch it, it differs.
I know. I'm just saying, like, if you want, like, oh, and this is a good tip I have because I just looked over there. It's a little Bible that I got from Walmart for my daughter, and it is helpful. And I want you to hear me out. And it may be humbling for some people, but it is okay to read a teenager or child's Bible so that you can get the gist of something. It's very similar to reading like the beginning of the book before the book happens, just so you can get your feet wet. I definitely believe that you should read a Bible on your level, but it is okay to like watch like the Bible Project or the Bible recap or something like that in between time. So I definitely recommend all three of those: Child Bible, Teen Bible, Bible Project, Bible Recap, uh, and something like Cookies in Christ. That's exactly what we do as well, to try to sum it up and have a conversation and bring out points that we feel the average person may have been asking, but of course the Bible may not directly, speak like how we speak and answer the questions like we have answered them. So hopefully you enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun. We are wrapping up Job, so that means I'm going to do another flip through of my Bible and my notes in Job, for folks to see, because people really enjoyed when I did it with Genesis. So I plan on doing that when we finish each book. I think that's something I'll do, depending on how long the book is, because some books I might have to break that up. But that is all, because I'm hungry, you're hungry, and yeah.
And I'm tired. I'm hungry and tired. Woo. Yeah.
Okay. I gotta go grade some papers. Yay. All right.
Some candy.
All right, people. Thank you. See you later.